agreement. And there will also be other conversations on the sideline between President Bola Tinubu and other leaders on the continent, and indeed officials of the African Union. Precious.
It'll be interesting to see how they navigate the conversation on the AFCFTA with Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger pulling out of ECOWAS. Thank you so much for that update. Our correspondent live for us there in Addis Ababa, Femi Akonde. Now, in the meantime, the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, says electricity subsidy cannot be sustained and Nigeria must begin to move towards a cost-effective tariff model. Mr. Adelabu said the country is currently indebted to the tune of 1.3 trillion naira to generating companies and $1.3 billion for gas companies. TVC News correspondent Habida Lawal reports.
Establishing a customer complaint escalation center.
This year, 450 billion naira was budgeted for subsidy, but the ministry needs over 2 trillion naira to pay for it. Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, said state governments will now be allowed to generate electricity independently to supply power to their state. Over 50 billion naira has been earmarked in the 2024 budget to build mini-grids to supply power to remote areas. He read a riot act to the electricity distribution companies, urging them to sit up or have their licenses withdrawn.
It is either we look for money at all costs to fund the subsidy because of the political situation of the country and the hardship people are passing through, or we bite the bullet and everybody understands, okay, let's bring the roof down first. Let's reflect everything on market commercial basis. Then we'll start a rebuilding, because it is postponing the evil days if we continue anyway. So I am not calling for removal of subsidy before they misquote me, but it's a decision for the entirety of the country to decide. These are assets that we spend the country's money on, and our brothers, part of us, will deliberately sabotage it. So you can see that some people are hiding somewhere that do not want this sector to work.
The minister also said the frequent collapse of the grid, which has occurred about 6 times between December 2023 and February this year, is caused by shortage of gas, old and obsolete machines in the grid value chain, low capacity of evacuate-generated power, and destruction of power stations in some parts of the northeast geopolitical zone of the country. Habida Lawal, TVC News, Abuja.
As the federal government says it cannot continue to subsidize electricity, a spokesman for the distribution companies, Sunday Oduntan, joins me on the news. Good to have you join us.
Very much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Let me start by asking you if the minister's statement is a revelation to you, or it is just a statement of fact, and how does that statement contribute to the poor power supply that we've been seeing in the country?
Okay. Number one, let me first of all make it clear. The Honorable Minister of Power is a policy maker. That is the government. We are the operator. So the government reserves the rights for how they will go about the policy. But 2 things are important. Nigerians want electricity. That's for Nigerians. Number 2, we as the operators want to be able to operate an environment where there will be liquidity, where we'll be able to recover our cost. So the minister has stated the obvious. But how they now go about it depends on the government, not on us as the operators. That's my idea.
The minister also identified the burden of how much federal government is carrying and will carry in the new budget. In terms of how much they also owe the generating companies, the billions, I think it's $1.3 billion for gas companies as well. So really, what is the implication of this, or rather, how are the discos coping with this particular, with the money owed?
Well, things are very hard for the discos, for the gencos, and of course, for the transmission company of Nigeria, the whole of the value chain, the whole value chain, we are all in a very deep hole. The debt is humongous. The liquidity crisis affects everyone. And that is why you see that we are not efficient enough. When people talk about efficiency, they should also remember pricing. There's a link between pricing and efficiency. So, like I said, the minister has stated the obvious. It's either we do something, or like he used the word, he said, pulling down the roof. But it's either we do something now, or something will do us. So that's the way I see.
So I want you to sort of explain to us, because when you look at the conversation around social media, even just amongst Nigerians, you'll find that one of the top conversation is issues around the poor power supply. It's been terrible in the last few days. And what is the reason for that? And then the revelation made by the minister, and what is the implication of that on consumers? Are we going to see increased tariff, or are we going to see reduced supply of power?
Okay, number one, the power supply has been poor. The power supply has been very poor in the last 3 years because of shortage of gas. Most of our power supply in Nigeria are sourced from gas-fired power plants. We only have 3 from hydro power plants, water, and those 3 are Euro, Kainji, and Jeba. And what they contribute to the national grid is very little compared with the gas-fired stations. So gas is important as of now in Nigeria for power production, which is power generation. So it is gas shortage. And even when you talk about gas, you also have to remember gas pricing. Debts have accumulated over the years. The shortfall in the system has led huge debts. So the generation companies are struggling, the transmission companies, and the distribution companies are also struggling. So I understand how our people feel, which is why I always apologize, especially to those very honest, distant, who pay in Nigeria, those who pay. Not the team though, we are so who steal energy every minute. The problem we have, liquidity, unless it's not the issue of pricing, the issue of payment, there's no way you can get all the raw materials like gas. So that's why you have not seen enough electricity. Then you asked about tariff. The issue of tariff is simple. What we are saying is this. Let us know the cost of production of electricity. Whatever you are producing as a producer, it is important to know the cost of production. It is that cost of production that will determine the selling price. Earlier on yesterday, I used the analogy of bread. And I said a baker who bakes bread cannot produce bread without some raw material. A major raw material is flour. Flour comes in wheat. The farmer has to grow wheat. He has to transport it to the flour mill. The flour mill has to put that flour, transport it to bakery. The baker has to pay for all of this, and then the bread has to be transported to where they did it, to the retailers. All of these are associated with cost. So you have to factor in the cost of all of these before you know how much you are going to sell a loaf of bread. One of my uncles, a few minutes ago, said, but for disco, for the electricity, they badly produce bread. Bread will be badly produced if people are paying the right amount for bread. So for us to get the best bread, you have to pay the right amount for bread. When government says they can subsidize it, they can afford it, that's for government to decide. So we are not in a position to tell government.
All right.
What we can just is that for us to have electricity, we have to stop the sentiment and the emotion. Electricity is no more a social target. Electricity is a product like bread or any other product. And for that reason, we should all work together to ensure we have a bankable, a liquid power sector. That's my thing.
From just this conversation, it will seem as though the entire power value chain has its own challenges. But we'll continue to have this conversation as the days progress. Thank you so much for talking to us. Spokesman for the distribution companies, Sunday Oduntan.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And still to come on the news at 1, the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency inspects sections of Apapa Ijara Road, others in Lagos State. We'll bring you details of that story and more after the break. Stay with us.
TerraCube is available in beef, chicken, jollof and shrimp flavors at attractive prices of 50, 100, 200 and 500 naira.
TerraCube, unwrap joy, unleash taste.
In a world hungry for goodness, with a splash of golden Terra oil, a mom can transform a frown into a smile. Make a lunch hour a happy hour. Change no thanks into yes please. Provide care when our nearest and dearest needs it most. And resolve